Julie.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'm waiting for you now. Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues with Jide. Here we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, coalition moves to remove Tinubu demands registration of new party ahead 2027. In the course of the program, we take your questions, but first subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and ones based on the subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom all the way from Ekeriade, that's BKO's village. The master himself, Bajide Kolade Tutoju. Good to see you, BK.
Good to see you, Ibrahim. It's such a wonderful feeling to be in the countryside where you buy 30 uh, stumps of corn for just 2,000 naira. I
Wow.
counted it. It wasn't like I told someone to buy it for me. I bought it myself. I came down and I
Wow.
counted each of the corn that I bought, freshly
Yes.
harvested,
Yes.
about 28 of them, 28 for 2,000 naira.
Wow. That you may have to help us bring some because yesterday I got six. I got six of them for 1,000 naira, and that's a far
Can you,
cry. At Jakonde
can
Market here
you?
in Lagos.
And I'm sure it won't be as fresh as this one, because this one was so fresh. And we cooked, we've not, we cooked, gave our friends, and we still have plenty left. You know,
Wow. Wow.
29 uh, stumps of corn we bought
Hmm.
for
So,
2,000 naira.
so we're looking forward to you bringing a bag of corn for us, especially with the fact that we are talking about a new party which has corn as their emblem or as their logo. That's talking about the Nigerian National Coalition Group, which is led by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. They've now formally applied to the Independent National Electoral Commission for registration as a political party known as All Democratic Alliance, which some are referring to as ADA. Maybe it is ADA or ADA. We'll soon get to know. But what do you make of these emerging coalitions move to unseat President Bola Tinubu? Is this a birth of credible political third force or just political theater ahead of 2027?
You see, it's difficult to um, place politicians. Somehow, journalists came to the conclusion that this party seeking registration is um, the party that Rotimi Amechi, Nasir El-Rufai, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar seek to use as a vehicle to achieve their desire of kicking President Tinubu out of power in 2027. But despite the fact that everything pointed to the fact that the coalition would want to register that party so that he can use it to achieve his aim. This this morning, we were told that Atiku Abubakar had not endorsed that new party, meaning that um, they have not announced what platform they intend to use to combat the APC. But they announced to everyone that they will come up with the platform that they will use before June 30. June 30 is not far away. Perhaps we should still wait a little bit for them. I also know that because they fear that if that the INEC could be directed to deny them registration, they would not want at this stage to be identified with that political party that is seeking registration at this time. That political party, ADA, actually um, applied to INEC seeking registration on June 19th. So that's where we are. I think that Nigerians need to wait to know exactly which party Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, and El-Rufai, as well as their supporters, intend to use. But it is as clear as daylight that the moves to remove President Tinubu from power have begun. And the coalition will be exploring all kinds of tactics, all kinds of methods to achieve their aims. I think that they fear that the if they were to register a new party, that party may not be um, registered, may not be granted license, may not be officially registered as a political party by INEC, which has the power to register political party. So my suspicion is they could still use ADA as a political party. They could still use ADC because I hear ADC features in some of the discussions being made on the plans of the coalition to find a political vehicle to use for the 2027 general election. Already, people like Festus Keyamo are attacking the coalition, saying that their intention to recreate the APC, what the APC did in 2013, their intention to recreate that is a joke, that they will never be able to find the kind of um, support base, the kind of support from governors and other powerful political figures, the way the APC managed to build that coalition in 2013. That is the fear that, that is what Festus Keyamo said. But let me just read through what Keyamo said about them. This is just a simple application for party registration. There's nothing like a coalition here. That's Keyamo talking about the new party, and he described their efforts as a joke already. Let me get some of the quotes from Keyamo. He said, the group lacks the political weight to trouble the ruling party. This is not a coalition of political forces and cannot be regarded as a merger. He went on to say that after all the razzmatazz, it boils down to the fact that a new political party is just attempting registration by a few Nigerians. It is a disappointing anticlimax to all the preceding pomp and pageantry. But Baba Keita, who was a senator before now, said, look, we are not doing this for ourselves. but for the ordinary people who deserve better governance and dignity. And he went on to say that this coalition, which is attracting stakeholders across party lines, aims to mobilize the grassroots and provide a credible alternative to the APC. According to him, the Nigerian people are the ones who would get up and send the APC out of power. Because as far as it's concerned, the people have been badly governed, the people have been impoverished by the ruling party. Therefore, the 2027 general election is a contest between the APC and hungry Nigerians, hungry and frustrated Nigerians who have not benefited in any way from the government. So this is his position. I don't know what is going through the minds of the principal leaders of the opposition, but I know that they are kind of frustrated because before now we thought they will be able to use the SDP. But it's clear that they are having some difficulties using the SDP as their political platform. This is the situation with them at this time. So they would rather wait to see how things pan out before they decide what party to use. This is especially because they are not certain that if they were to use to register a new political party, that their party will be registered. And they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket.
Interesting stuff.
So you get the point. They do not trust that INEC would register their party. That once the INEC discovers that this is the platform that they intend to use, INEC reserves the right to register or not register a party. So they are not convinced that they will be allowed to register that party, which will spanner in the works. So they are kind of worried about that. What do we do? What do we do? Now they have to continue their talks and see whether amongst the already registered parties they can find one that will allow its platform to be used by the coalition. But there are all kinds of businessmen masquerading as party leaders. And some of them will in fact exploit the coalition leaders. They could in fact try to make money off them if they are approached to surrender their party, to allow their party to be used as the vehicle with which to stop President Tinubu from getting the second term. So it's not easy for them. And if they were to simply say, oh, the best bet is to have a party that everybody jumps into and everybody sees as his own party or her own party, and then use that party to win the election. As the APC did, APC had different political parties, a faction of ABGA, a faction of the PDP, ANPP,
TVC.
where Buhari came from, CPC, Action Congress of Nigeria, President Tinubu's party at that time, So they all came together and formed one party. it is difficult to say you have a coalition and that coalition does not have a name. You must give that coalition a name, and all the other parties will then surrender their right to continue to exist. The same way the ANPP gave up its right to continue to exist, the same way the Action Congress of Nigeria gave up its right to exist, to then form that grand alliance that will have a name. Everyone will now rally around that name, around that political identity. But it's difficult for them now to achieve that. And that's why they've been having all kinds of talks around, okay, which platform are we going to use? Should we form a new party? If the platform that already exists are making it difficult for them, are not yielding to their terms, as we saw with the SDP. So the SDP members, many of them who are rich, felt that, oh, some people had come to, I mean, they had invaded our party, they have come to seize control of our party and all that. And there was a subtle rejection of moves by these coalition elements to come into the SDP and take it over. So the pushback that they were getting forced them to then begin to look at other possibilities, other parties, and maybe the possibility of setting up a new party. So this is the situation.
Right.
Now, we've been told that ADA is not necessarily Atiku. I mean, that Atiku has not endorsed it. Because if that ADA, even before registration, is perceived to be a party that they intend to use to send the president out of power, they dread that INEC will be told, do not register them. And you and I know that the independence of INEC is limited. INEC does not have total independence. I don't think any party in our country, any ruling party in our country, has allowed INEC to exercise full independence. I've not seen that. So they have their fears. So coming out quickly to say no, we do not, we have not endorsed, we have not adopted ADA as our party is a way of dousing the kind of enthusiasm that will eventually stop the registration of ADA. Or this guy now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. All right. Now that we can hear you, BK. So the thing is, if you look at most of the members of these newly introduced parties, at several points in time been under the same umbrella, clearly they have failed to engineer unity and justice within the party they claim was the best. Seeing them deserting these parties in its trying and sickly moments. Does this reflect a genuine post-partisan vision for Nigeria, or is it more of an elite reshuffling without a clear ideological shift, especially when it's clear they are a coalition of the aggrieved, especially on their personal behalf?
Well, first and foremost, people have the right to join any political party that they fancy. People have the right to use any political party that they are convinced is good enough to advance their political interest, to use as a vehicle to attain power. So I do not think it's right for people to be calling them frustrated political figures and all that. They have the right to disagree with the president. They have the right to refuse to support the president's party. They have the right to form their own party. They have the right to exist. under a political platform different to that of the president. So I do not subscribe to labeling them in the way um, people are doing. Opposition parties are very useful in a democracy because they push the ruling party to its elastic limit so that the ruling party can then focus on delivering the dividends of democracy. So no matter how good the ruling party is, it can't be perfect. And because it can't be perfect, it can't solve all the problems, it can't please everyone. So opposition will always exist in any democracy. And they too have legitimate desires to take power. So on the issue of whether this is just simply elitist and all that, or just a shuffling of political figures, it's true that in our country, politicians increasingly move from one party to another. The greedy Nigerian politician does not want to be in the opposition. He will sometimes go to the opposition when he's convinced that he can actually defeat the incumbent, or when he's convinced that the opposition party will give him a ticket with which he can then win election. Sometimes during in the days leading to party primaries, disagreements happen. People deserve to be given tickets, are not given, and they leave for opposition parties, and riding on their popularity, they win. So these things happen. That's why you see, and once they have won, and those issues that push them out of the party in the first place are resolved, you see them going back to the party. A lot of people have done that between 2023 and now. They've gone back to many of them don't want to belong to small parties. Small parties. They want to play the big league. And when we are talking about the big league, the APC is on top of the big league in our country. And then PDP, ABGA, Labour Party, and the rest of them. So this is the thing. I think that, yes, a good number of those elements want to take power. Atiku Abubakar, for example, does not see any reason why he should not be president of Nigeria. Some of his spiritualists have told him, according to Obasanjo in his book, that he will be president of Nigeria one day. And even as ages, um, even as he's running out of time, with age catching up with him inexorably, Atiku still believes that it is his birthright to become president of Nigeria. So he's eager to test the presidency. Is very, very keen to not just kick President Tinubu out of power, but to take President Tinubu's place.
Yeah, that's right. Uh, Let me take some comments. Adeshola Adepande says the so-called coalition is anti-Tinubu, not pro-Nigeria. They are coming together because they hate Tinubu, not because they love Nigeria. Pascal Ikumere says maize, although he wrote Mazi, but I know he intended to write maize. Maize is cheaper in the countryside than the city. Babatunde Orire says these people are just deceiving themselves. Big T says, very good evening, BKO and Ibrahim. God bless everyone. Both Amechi and Erufai, including Atiku, didn't really know what they're doing. Oh, come on. Babatunde, okay, I've read his comment. Rashid says, the party may not be useful for Atiku by 2027, but might be useful for Nasiru and Amechi by 2031. Adewale Adeojo says, Atiku defeated the game. Oh, come on. Is actually giving a meaning to the acronym ADA. Evangelist Julius Omoribe says Nigeria needs a viable opposition. However, it won't be an easy job. Governors play big roles in winning Nigerian presidential elections. They have the big pockets. Um, Pascal, okay, Godwin Osatowame said Tinubu is indeed a great. What Nigeria needs now is to begin to trust the process. Banji, okay, so to say, is free word, but PBAT will still win in 2027. God sparing his life. To rebuild the building with faulty foundation is not a monkey business, and it's beyond child's play. Mintu Songa says, good evening, PKO. Why won't INEC register this new party? What excuse would they give for not registering it? I wanted to answer that question, but let me take one more or two comments. Nelson Adufe says, amongst candidates focused on, South is the next president, not the North. If Tinubu can seriously achieve factors that satisfy the common families in the country, then the APC will have second term. Okay, so I wanted to respond to the question as to why INEC may not register there. But then, in line with that, I also wanted to respond to the question because if you look at most coalitions in Nigeria, you know, the fracture under pressure, especially once candidacy tickets come into play. What fault lines should observers watch? Should Nigerians watch out? Watch out for as this alliance progresses, especially when personal ambitions come into conflict. The first question is, why do you think INEC would not register them? And then what are the fault lines you think we should watch out for when personal ambitions come into play ahead of 2027, when it comes to who takes what position, who leads the party?
Frankly, in my view, the best bet of the big opposition players is not to hide their support for a particular party seeking registration. My broadcast is being interrupted by people calling me.
Apologies. Probably they want to ask their own point.
Now, I think the best bet is for them to make their intentions clear. This is our political party. We seek registration of this political party. APC was formed while the PDP was in opposition. Was the ruling party. The then INEC registered the party. So if INEC registered APC at that time, if Atiku and the rest of them step forward and say, okay, this is a new political group that we want to register to become a full-fledged political party, I think INEC is obligated to register them, especially when it sees that these are political heavyweights, and they have all it takes. All of the stipulations are met. Once all the stipulations are met, they should be able to register them. So, but if they try to hide their real intentions and they sit back and plot to register a party that they will now own, I think that will be taking a big risk because it's going to be difficult for INEC to register such a party if it thinks that it doesn't have enough gravitas, doesn't have the wherewithal to exist and to survive as a political party. Many of the political parties are just there. They lack nothing. They are incapable of winning elections. They are just there to make up the numbers. And INEC has deregistered parties in the past because of terrible performance on their part, because they are insignificant. We used to have more than 100 political parties, and then they came down to, I think, less than 20.
There are 18 of them or thereabout.
Yes, I think 18. Even those ones are too many. We need, we don't need that much. A good number of the 18 political parties are just there. They don't do anything. They exist like they do not exist. So my advice to the coalition elements, even though they don't need my advice, is show your faces, show your true intentions. Let the world know that this is the political party that you want to register. Be in their faces. Don't try to push some people forward, have those people attempt to register a party, and then step forward to own it. I don't think that will work because such a party may never be registered. But if they come out with their full chest, these are big political heavyweights. The pressure will be intense on INEC to register them because if you don't then do that, they will believe that your decision is political. You believe that you are teleguided from Aso Rock to not register such a party. So they should step forward. If they are finding it difficult to work with the existing parties, they should step forward, register a party of their own, and let Nigerians who support them know that that is a party that they should vote for, work for ahead of 2027.
Right. Let me take one or two more comments and then we coach team. Big T says, I campaigned for Ashwaju in 2023. I will not only campaign for him in 2027, I will organize a walk for Ashwaju 2027 victory. Olowo says, good evening, Nigerians. The beauty of democracy, principle of choice. Nelson Wilfred said, Babajide, I don't think this is the type of opposition we want in Nigeria. These politicians are only after power and not the interest of the ordinary Nigerians. Okay, Yusuf Maru says, Erufai is now reborn again. Kamal Mobolaji Williams says, it's new and INEC must register. We will see its newness. People grow, politicians do change, especially in this very very times. I don't know what that means. But very lastly, detail. We have just about 4 minutes or less to round up. Given the high voter apathy in 2023 and ongoing economic pain, as some people would describe it, but then the administration says is the reforms, which of course is expected to be painful. There seems to be a mood for change some way, somehow. But in your assessment, is the average Nigerian voter ready to abandon party loyalty and throw weight behind a fresh platform, especially with their past experiences, people coming in, different promises, all of that?
Yeah, I believe that 2027 will be um, a watershed in electoral history. The battle is really heating up. No doubt about it, the ruling party, the current administration has to take steps to relieve the ordinary people of the pains that they are going through at this time. It is in its best interest to do that because once you ease the pains that Nigerians are going through, Nigerians are not difficult to please. And our standards as ordinary people, the standards of the ordinary Nigerian people, are not high. If you give them good roads, they'll be happy with you, they will hail you. Whereas building roads shouldn't even be something that you praise the government about. It's a responsibility. If we keep the people safe, they will show their gratitude. So a lot of Nigerians are going through pains at this time. Things are very expensive. People are finding it difficult to feed. If the government will only take steps to ease the pains of the people, do its best to drive down food prices, for example, do its best to improve security in the north central, in the northwest, and the northeast. People will see those changes and they will feel the need to re-elect the administration. The administration must solve the problems. The Tinubu administration must do its best to ease the pains of our people. The steps that they took recently, to allow importation of rice has crashed the price of a 50 kg bag of rice, for example. There was a time that people were buying it for like 100,000, 110,000. But in Lagos now, you can get a bag of rice for 56,000, 58,000. These are things that we want to see. If the government will strengthen the naira, to make the naira far more competitive than it is now, it will drive down food prices because a lot of the foods that we consume are brought in from neighboring countries and even from Europe and America. So a stronger naira would lead to a decline in food prices. So the government must ease the pains on our people, lessen their burden. If it's able to do this, it doesn't even need to campaign so much. It, the government will be able to blow the opposition out of water. For as long as people are suffering, people find it difficult to eat, the message of the opposition, whether it calls itself coalition or whatever, its message will resonate with the Nigerian people. And Nigerian people will show their anger on election day. So the ruling uh, party, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu still has time to address those problems that are making the ordinary Nigerians angry, that are making the ordinary Nigerians think that the government came to inflict pains on them. And as long as these conditions remain, Ibrahim, in closing, nobody should rule out the opposition. Nobody. Because the opposition has grounds, upon which it can get its message across to Nigerians.
Absolutely. Well, that's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide Kolade Tutoju, for those insightful analyses, as always, all the way from the countryside at Ekiriade, I believe. Ekiriade, yeah. So please, we'll need more corn, more maize.
Yes.
Your way back to Lagos.
Honestly, if not for transportation issues, if not for transportation issues and the fact that it's even difficult to evacuate produce from the countryside, if you go to Benue State, for example, the price of a bucket of oranges or mangoes, if I say it, people will say I'm lying. But this is what I've seen. This is what I've seen. It's like they are just giving it away to you because they want to evacuate those things. Is a problem. But then the roads are not good. Transport costs are very high. So if we can improve infrastructure, link the production belt, the agri-production belts with good roads, link them to the urban centers with good roads. Honestly, prices will go down. Prices are going down even now. But It does not affect every commodity.
And let me quickly offend my producer, by asking this question because we are actually completely out of time. We saw the
Yeah.
governors coming together saying that yeah, they're going to remove the bottlenecks on the road, all the taxes, levies, and all of the things that are contributing to the rise of price,
Yeah.
of goods, produce, and all of that. Do you
Yeah.
do you do you trust them? Do you believe that they will do this, especially since they've been paying the profession to this issue of releasing, relieving Nigerians of this prices of goods from the market?
Yes. You see, naturally, one should have every reason to believe them, but they are not people you can trust. A lot of them believe in tokenism, a lot of them believe in symbolism. So the governors are interested in building bridges, building housing estates, delivering projects that people do not really need, rather than focus on creating jobs by concentrating on agriculture. You can create jobs for thousands of unemployed youths if we focus on agriculture. They'll be happy to do it. But agriculture will not give them the kind of publicity that flagging off a road project or flagging off a bridge project will give them. But they need to go into the hinterland, go into those areas that have not been cultivated. It's a shame that Nigeria has not cultivated up to 12% of its arable land. It's a massive shame. And just as I said earlier, journalist Anger, it's a shame that Nigeria is a much bigger producer of yams, yet it is Ghana that is making money from exporting yam. Go to the UK, it is Ghanaian yam that they are eating all over the place. They call it puna. Why should a country that produces far less yams than we produce be making so much money from exporting yam and we are here doing nothing? Governors own the land. Governors are the people who can really, really get us to produce a lot more by way of agriculture. But a lot of them do not focus on that. They are focusing on roads and opportunities to do contracts where a lot of their friends can make money and all that. It's such a massive shame.
Thank you very much, BK, for speaking to the power. Really appreciate. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide, told you for those insightful analyses.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Hope to see you guys soon. But for now, I'm taking in the fresh air of the countryside.
Right,
There's
and
nothing
enjoy
like
the
it.
breeze. All right, thank you to our audience for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.